if you put the money in the bank in 10 years, you're going to have, let's say double your money, $20,000, right? And okay, now you have $20,000 and that's meant for you to do something with, right? Maybe some of it's pay bills, but some of it's ski trips or travel or birthday presents or charity or whatever it is of the numerous things you can do with the money. People, and that's okay. You feel like not having those experiences now is worth more experiences later in your life, right? But that's what the interest does, right? It pays out and then you're able to have more experiences. And in theory, you'll have more fulfillment later in life, right? By saving those experience dollars and letting them grow. But there's also something interesting, fun, and wonderful about experiences. And I call it the memory dividend. You don't just get pleasure from when you have the experience, right? Say you were going to go fishing with the fellas. And it's great. You went fishing. But you also have a positive experience when you recall that fishing experience. It was great hanging with my friends. We caught up. I caught the fish. There was one big one that got away. Of course, there's the big one got away story. You'll probably tell the big one got away story 1,000 times, right? Never met a fisherman without a big one that got away story, right? And so over those years, that is going to provide you little pieces of fulfillment as well. And that's called the memory dividend. So the same way you get interest in the bank that's paid quarterly, right? You get a memory dividend that provides you fulfillment. And each time you recall and discuss that story. And it compounds, right? Like you might go out to dinner with someone new and they're a fisherman or they're okay hearing your fish story. And you tell the story and you guys bond over the story and this is the fishing hole, et cetera. And that creates a new experience that will then also have its own memory dividends associated with it. And so, Warren Buffett famously says, when it comes to investing, start early to take advantage of the compounding interest of money, right? The money compounding over time. And I say the same thing with experiences. Start early to take advantage of the compounding memory dividend. And it's also a tool to help you decide where should I save this money and have 2 ski trips 10 years from now? Or should I take 1 ski trip now and have all the associated memory dividends, and will that be a more fulfilling thing?
Another interesting reality, I suppose, about Warren Buffett is that even though he's a super billionaire, very few people, if given the choice, would swap places with him. Well, why? Because he doesn't have as much time as you do to spend that money.
No.
So it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It can't be about the money, because if it was just about the money, you would exchange places with the super rich guy regardless of his age.
Right. Got on board in the beginning of the book. It's like life is about fulfillment. It's not about the money. The money is a tool to drive fulfillment, right? Yes, we'll take more money, right? And we'll convert that into more fulfillment, but we're all about fulfillment. And if we're talking about Warren Buffett, he's got X years left. Doesn't look like that much. He doesn't have that many more opportunities to fulfill himself, right? If you got put into the body of Warren Buffett. Whereas you, the listener now, healthy, wise, doing all the cold plunges and whatever you're doing, right? Lifting weights, making sure you have enough muscle mass. You have many, many, many more opportunities for fulfillment, and you're going to have a high fulfillment score. I think a lot of people like, I'll take $0 than being Warren Buffett, which is the truth, right?
I have a friend, Alex, who said, I know for a fact that all of the wealth that I'll accumulate between now and in 20 years' time, I would give to be right back in this place with this health and this body and all of the time that's left ahead of me, right. Which means that right now is more important than all of the wealth that I will generate over the next 2 decades of my life.
Right. He could take that now to the memory dividend and experiences and be like, all right, well, what experiences belong right now that you can't have in 20 years? Because what he's basically saying is that in 20 years' time, okay, there are certain activities, certain experiences. My attitude will change. My aptitude will change. My lung capacity will change. There are certain activities that belong right now that I need to be doing right now. So you should take that line of thinking to like, okay, what do I do right now? These next 2 years, this next year, this next month. What am I on autopilot? Like, what am I missing? Let me get out my sheet, okay? Trips, entertainment, love life, family, whatever. He can categorize them any kind of way and be like, okay, 0 to 3 years from now, what belongs right now? Because I already have the concept in my head that I'm going to be dying to be back here. So if I can't come back, I need to make sure I get everything out of this time period that I possibly can. It's kind of logical that if you're expending hours of your life, that you can be doing anything, right? You could be backpacking, panhandling through Europe. You can be a volunteer. You can do whatever. But if you're spending hours of your life for money, right, that then converts into experiences that you may have, right? Travel, charity, whatever. If you go to work and exchange hours of your life for money that you never use, you're de facto wasting your life, right? You're not going to go spend hours and hours rolling a skee ball. I mean, you might enjoy there's some fun in getting skee balls, but you're not doing it to accumulate tickets. Like, I got to get these tickets. And then not go get the silly prize, right? Use all your tickets. No cash value on the way out. A rational person would be like, okay, the hours of my life that I exchange, that I give up, the only thing that I have in exchange for money, I will use all that resource so that I not waste my life, right? It's just suboptimal. I'm sure everybody's like, well, this exception, they'll put out the exception case, but by and large, the data is just overwhelming. Old people don't spend money. Their net worth just keeps growing, right? They just don't, even adjusting for healthcare costs. I know people, healthcare and yada, right? First of all, there's insurance products, et cetera. But even without insurance products and all that, net worth just keeps growing. And I get asked, why does that happen? I was like, because they can't spend the money. They cannot. Their aptitude has changed. They don't like doing the same things. Their bodies have changed. They have the inability to do the thing. And it's not, even if they can, it's not enjoyable. Like, their joints hurt. Their back hurts.
Yeah, renting a Ferrari to go to skydiving when you're 45 versus renting a Ferrari to go to skydiving when you're 75 are two very different experiences.
You have to think of the total system, right? People are getting on autopilot and myopic about the totality of life and what experiences belong in each season of their life. And so, going back to earlier when we said, life is like Tetris, you got to get the order right, right? You don't want to be 40, 50 and go, fuck, I really fucked that up. What an idiot. Missed out.
Better go back to Ibiza and try and do the season.
Yeah, no, you're married, you got 4 kids, and, your principles and your obligations and everything prevent you from, raving with glow sticks in Ibiza, right? And doing whatever you do late at night, right? Like, and your obligations, your character, everything has changed. Yeah, I tell people, like, listen, you have now and going forward. And so what's done is done. You have your memories, your experiences, your mistakes, your scars, and you have your resources. Let's optimize. What do you want in these let's break it down, next 3 years, next 3 to 5 years. What experiences belong here? What choices, what trips? What I love yous, what charitable deeds. Let's just go down whatever the list. What health goals, what belongs here, right? How does that fit into the next period? Let's look at the next period. Let's look at the next period. And then once we get them all lined out, right, we're like, this one belongs here and here. And now we can optimize and we have a little bit more, we have a more fulfilling life on a go forward basis. But we can't optimize the past, right? So let's accept it, enjoy it. Let's go now. Let's get present. Let's get off autopilot. And I'm really talking to myself. You know what I mean? Because that's me. All right, what do you really want? What does this summer look like? Okay, you really want to spend time with your kids. What tricks, what methods you're going to employ to hang out with them where you're not feeling annoying to them. You got one summer left. You got one this. How many times are you going to have a good talk with them? How can you, before they're off in the wild doing their own thing? My youngest, it's go time. How are we going to do this? What resources are you going to bring to bear to this problem? So once you get a point, like you read the book, you apply the principles and you get there, right? It's like top level E equals MC squared or whatever. Now you're application layer. I want to apply it to my life, So then you bring in other things okay, these experiences I want in my life, anything worth having is worth working for. What resources do I bring to bear, right? And so I treat each period like this is it. This period dies. So this is it. Whatever is unique to this period, do not fuck it up.